Evelyn woke to pain. Not the sharp kind. This was slower, heavier, like her veins were being pulled apart thread by thread. Golden cracks glimmered faintly along her forearms, crawling higher than before. She pressed her sleeve down in panic, heart racing. It's getting worse. The high clerics hadn't lied about that part. They just hadn't cared. That night, the monastery bells rang once, low and distant, a warning tone, the kind that meant the abyss chamber had stirred. Deep beneath stone and prayer, Lucian Blackthorne stood motionless in his chains. But his mind was screaming. Her blood was failing. He could feel it. Every living seal was bound by balance. Light feeding on darkness, darkness resisting light. For centuries, the seal had been fed by ritual, sacrifice, and distance. Then Evelyn had entered the chamber, and everything changed. "She's too close," Lucian murmured to the shadows curling at his feet. "They're draining her faster to compensate." The chains hummed, responding to his awareness. Lucian had ruled hells, broken gods, burned worlds, yet he was powerless against this. Unless... He lifted his head slowly, eyes igniting with ancient fire. "Listen to me," he said, voice carrying through stone and spell alike. "I can stabilize the seal." The chamber answered with silence. Then footsteps. The head cleric emerged from the shadows, expression cold. "You can't even touch her. What makes you think we'd trust your words?" Lucian smiled faintly. "Because if she dies, you lose your lock." The cleric stiffened. Lucian leaned forward as far as the chains allowed. "Your scriptures are incomplete. The seal was never meant to consume its vessel. It was meant to share burden." "You're lying." "No," Lucian said quietly. "You're afraid." The head cleric's jaw tightened. "Explain." "The seal is draining her because she bears it alone," Lucian said. "Let me carry half." A murmur rippled through the chamber. The cleric laughed sharply. "You expect us to weaken your chains?" Lucian's gaze hardened. "I expect you to decide whether you want a dead girl or a living demon king." Evelyn was barely conscious when they brought her back. She felt hands lowering her onto cold stone, the abyss chamber air pressing on her lungs, heavy with magic. Lucian saw her instantly. She looked smaller, paler. Anger unlike anything he'd felt in centuries surged through him. "Why did you bring her here?" he demanded. The head cleric raised a hand. "You said you could stabilize the seal. Prove it." Evelyn forced her eyes open. Lucian's breath caught. "Evelyn," he said softly, "listen to me. I need you to do exactly what I say." She swallowed, voice barely a whisper. "You shouldn't care." "I don't care," he lied. "I refuse to let them kill you." The cleric stepped back, forming a circle. Sigils ignited across the floor. The chains loosened. Just slightly. Pain ripped through Lucian as centuries of restraint screamed in protest, but he ignored it. "Hold out your hand," he told her. Evelyn hesitated. "Touching him," a cleric began. "She won't," Lucian snapped. "Not skin to skin." He extended his hand, stopping inches away from hers. Darkness bled from his palm, coiling in the air like smoke. "Your blood burns because the light has nowhere to go," he said. "Let it flow into me." Evelyn closed her eyes. Golden light surged from her wrists, violent, unstable. Lucian met it with shadow. The moment their magic touched, the chamber exploded with sound. Light and darkness collided, not violently, but desperately, intertwining like two halves of a broken whole. Evelyn screamed. Then, relief. The pain eased. The burning dulled to a warm ache. Her breathing steadied. Lucian gasped, dropping to one knee as the chains flared, tightening again. But he was smiling. "It's working," he said hoarsely. The head cleric stared in disbelief. Evelyn looked at her arms. The cracks had stopped spreading. Tears blurred her vision. "You're hurting," she said. Lucian lifted his gaze to hers. "I've survived worse." She shook her head weakly. "You shouldn't save me. I'm your prison." Lucian's eyes softened. "No," he said. "You're their excuse." The chains pulled him back, and in the connection, the light faded. Guards rushed forward. As Evelyn was carried away, she felt something she never had before. Hope. And deep in the shadows of the abyss chamber, Lucian made a vow older than hell itself. If the seal demands her life, then the seal will break. Evelyn stopped bleeding. For the first time since the sigils had appeared on her skin, the pain didn't return with the dawn. She sat up in her cell, staring at her wrists. The golden cracks were still there, but dimmer, quiet, as if sleeping. "They stabilized," whispered Sister Mara, the only healer who dared show kindness. "I've never seen the seal behave like this." Evelyn knew why. Lucian, across the monastery, alarms rang. Not bells. Horns. The sky above the abyss chamber darkened as celestial sigils ignited. Ancient, forbidden symbols carved into the air itself. The high cleric stood in a circle, faces grim. "The demon interfered with divine law," the head cleric declared. "He has corrupted the seal." Lucian Blackthorn listened from his chains, unflinching. "You used her as a battery," he said coldly. "Now you're afraid she won't die on schedule." The head cleric raised his staff. Silence. The floor trembled. Light tore open the ceiling. An angel descended, not the gentle kind painted in prayers. This one was tall, armored in blinding silver, 6 wings unfurled like blades. Its eyes burned white with judgment. "I am Seraphel, executor of heaven," it intoned. "The balance has been violated." Lucian's jaw tightened. "You're late." Seraphel turned its gaze toward him. "Demon King, your existence is tolerated only by seal. You're bonded with the vessel. I shared her burden. You tainted it." Lucian laughed softly. "Call it what you want. She's alive." Seraphel raised a hand. "The solution is simple. The vessel must be removed." Lucian's shadows surged violently. "No." They came for Evelyn at dusk. Guards dragged her through corridors as prayers echoed like threats. She struggled weakly, dread flooding her chest. "You can't," she cried. "The seal is stable." "The angel has spoken," the head cleric snapped. "Heaven demands purity." The abyss chamber doors slammed open. Lucian saw her instantly. Fear unlike any chain seized his heart. "Do not bring her closer," he growled. "You'll kill her." Seraphel descended between them, wings casting bladed shadows. "Step aside, demon." Evelyn felt it then. The seal screamed. Golden light erupted from her body, brighter than ever before. She collapsed, screaming as pain tore through her veins. Lucian roared. Chains shattered. Holy light flared, but not fast enough. Lucian surged forward, catching Evelyn as she fell. Skin touched skin. The world held its breath. Nothing burned. Nothing broke. Instead, the seal changed. Golden light and shadow wrapped around them both, spiraling upward like a living storm. The chains disintegrated into ash. Seraphel staggered back. "Impossible." Evelyn clutched Lucian's chest, gasping. "I'm not dying." Lucian stared down at her, disbelief flooding his features. "You're bound to me now." The seal had rewritten itself. Not a prison. A bond. Seraphel raised its spear, fury blazing. "This union defies heaven." Lucian turned slowly. Shadows roar into life. "Then heaven is wrong." The angel struck. Lucian shielded Evelyn. Darkness meeting divine light in a catastrophic collision. The chamber exploded. Stone cracking. Sigils shattering. Evelyn screamed. Power surging through her, not draining, but answering. She raised her hand instinctively. Golden light flared. Seraphel froze midair, pinned by opposing forces. Evelyn stared at her glowing palm in shock. "I can feel him in the seal." Lucian's voice was steady beside her. "You're no longer the lock." "What am I?" He smiled, dark and reverent. "The choice." Evelyn looked at the angel, at the clerics cowering in fear. Then at Lucian. "If heaven kills me to keep you bound," she said softly, "then heaven is my enemy." She closed her fist. Light and shadow crushed inward. Seraphel screamed as its form fractured, divine essence scattering like burning feathers. Silence fell. The abyss chamber lay in ruins. Lucian knelt before Evelyn, not as a king, not as a demon, but as something bound. "They will hunt you," he said quietly. "Both sides." Evelyn took his hand. "Then don't let them take us apart." Lucian's shadows curled protectively around her. Never, he vowed. Above them, the sky cracked with thunder. The world had noticed, and it was not ready for what they had become. Heaven answered with fire. The first bolt tore through the clouds like a screaming blade, striking the monastery ruins where Evelyn and Lucian stood hand in hand. Stone vaporized. Sigils ignited and failed. "They're coming," Evelyn whispered. Lucian pulled her close, shadows rising instinctively around them. "They won't stop. Not now." Across the shattered chamber, portals opened, rings of blinding gold and bleeding crimson. Angels descended in armored ranks, wings sharp as judgment. From below, infernal gates cracked open, spilling demon lords crowned in flame. Heaven and hell, united by fear. Seraphel's shattered essence reformed in the air, cracked and furious. "You are an abomination," the angel hissed, "a flaw in creation." Evelyn felt the bond hum, steady, warm, not draining, not burning, sharing. "I was born to die for balance," she said, voice trembling but clear. "But balance never asked if I wanted to." Lucian's gaze softened. "Stand behind me." She shook her head and stepped forward. "No," Evelyn said. "Stand with me." The bond flared, light and shadow weaving together, not colliding, but agreeing. The ground steadied beneath their feet. An archangel raised a spear. "Sever the bond. Kill the vessel." Demons roared approval. Lucian laughed once, low and dangerous. "You still don't understand." He spread his hand, and Evelyn mirrored him. The bond answered. A wave rippled outward, not destructive, revelatory. Every sigil, every spell, every ancient rule shuddered as truth washed through them. The seal had never been a lock. It was a choice engine, designed to test whether power would protect life or consume it, and it had never been meant to be born alone. Angels faltered. Demons hesitated. Seraphel screamed, "Lies!" Evelyn met the angel's burning gaze. "You drained me because it was easy. He carried me because it was right." The archangel hurled the spear. Lucian moved, but Evelyn was faster. She caught it. Light surged, then softened, rewriting the weapon into a ribbon of gold that unraveled in her hands. Gasps tore through both armies. "I won't be your sacrifice," she said, "and I won't be your weapon." Lucian stepped beside her, shadows bowing not to him, but to them. "If you want war," he said, voice echoing like a verdict, "you'll find no throne at the end of it." Heaven struck first. The sky shattered into a storm of blades. Hell answered with fire. The battlefield erupted. Evelyn closed her eyes and opened the bond. Pain flowed around her, not into her. Lucian's darkness shaped it. Her light healed it. Together, they turned chaos into order. Angels fell not destroyed, but grounded, stripped of weapons. Demons were bound, not enslaved, but stilled. Seraphel charged, cracked wings screaming, "I will end this mistake." Lucian blocked the blow. Evelyn anchored him. The bond surged. "End it," Lucian whispered. Evelyn stepped forward, palm glowing. "No," she said gently. "We finish it." She pressed her hand to Seraphel's chest. Light didn't burn. It remembered. The angel froze as centuries of judgment peeled away, revealing a being terrified of choice. Seraphel collapsed to its knees, wings folding. "I can't see the path," it whispered. Evelyn knelt, then stopped forcing one. Silence fell. The storm faded. Portals flickered and closed. Heaven withdrew. Hell retreated. The battlefield emptied, leaving broken stone, quiet air, and two figures still standing. Lucian turned to Evelyn, awe and something like peace softening his features. "You remade the rules." She smiled, exhausted. "We did." They didn't build a throne. They left. The world needed time to heal. And so did they. They walked beyond borders, beyond prayers and curses, into places untouched by prophecy. Villages whisper of a woman whose light cured without cost, of a man whose shadow guarded without claim. Sometimes angels watched from afar. Sometimes demons did. None crossed the line. Years later, standing on a cliff at dawn, Evelyn laced her fingers with Lucian's. "Do you regret it?" she asked. "Losing a kingdom?" Lucian kissed her knuckles, reverent. I gain a world that chose us back. The bond hummed, steady, eternal, not a seal, not a chain, a promise. The prophecy was carved into stone long before she was born. If the demon king touches a girl marked by light, the seal will shatter and the world will burn. Evelyn Cross learned those words at the age of 6. The night glowing symbols appeared on her wrists like wounds made of gold. She screamed. The monastery bells screamed louder. By morning, the high clerics knew exactly what she was, a living seal. Now, 12 years later, Evelyn stood at the edge of the abyss chamber, her heart pounding so hard it felt like it might crack her ribs. Chains of holy light descended from the ceiling, crossing and recrossing like a web of stars. At their center, bound, silent, and terrifying, was him, the Demon King, Lucian Blackthorn. He was not what she expected, not a raging monster, not a beast of fire. He looked human, tall, broad-shouldered, dark-haired. His eyes were closed, lashes resting against sharp cheekbones. Ancient sigils burned faintly across his bare chest, rising and falling with slow, controlled breaths. Dangerously calm. "Do not step closer," the head cleric warned sharply behind her. "Your blood is a lock. Your body is the key. One mistake." "I know," Evelyn said, her voice steady despite the fear crawling under her skin. "If he touches me, the seal breaks." The cleric hesitated. "And if you stay too close for too long, the seal will begin draining your life." Evelyn nodded. She had memorized that part too. No one ever talked about what it felt like to be the lock, holding a god in chains. The moment she crossed the chamber threshold, Lucian's eyes snapped open. Black, endless, ancient. For the first time in centuries, the Demon King felt something stir in his chest. Light flared along the chains, reacting violently to her presence. The air grew heavy, charged with clashing magic, holy and unholy grinding against each other like colliding worlds. Lucian slowly lifted his head. "Move her back," he said quietly. The clerics froze. Evelyn stiffened. He spoke. Lucian's gaze locked onto her face. Not hungry, not cruel, but sharp with something dangerously close to concern. "You shouldn't be here," he continued, voice low and controlled. "If you value your life, step away." The head cleric scoffed. "He lies. He fears the seal weakening." Lucian laughed once, bitter and humorless. "If the seal weakens, girl, it won't be me who dies." Evelyn swallowed. Something in his tone twisted her chest. Against every order drilled into her since childhood, she took one step closer. Pain exploded through her veins. Golden light surged violently from her wrists, racing up her arms like fire under her skin. She gasped, stumbling, but didn't fall. Lucian surged forward instinctively, chains screaming as dark magic flared around him. "Don't!" he roared. The chains burned brighter, slamming him back. The chamber shook. Evelyn collapsed to her knees, breathing hard. Blood trickled from her nose, glowing faintly before fading to red. Silence fell. Lucian stared at her in horror. "You're already dying," he said softly. Evelyn looked up at him, forcing a weak smile. "Told you, I'm the seal." He clenched his fists, shadows curling around his arms like living things. "Then they're murdering you slowly." "They say it's necessary," she whispered. Lucian met her eyes, something ancient and furious igniting behind them. "No," he said. "It's convenient." The head cleric stepped forward angrily. "Enough. Remove her." As guards dragged Evelyn back, her vision blurred, but she never stopped looking at Lucian. And Lucian never looked away. That night, as Evelyn lay trembling in her cell, golden cracks spreading faintly along her skin, she finally understood the cruel truth the prophecy never mentioned. The seal was not meant to last forever, and the demon bound by it might be the only one who wanted to save her.